All right, I guess we are ready. Like I said before, my name is Bo. I'm the CEO and founder of AutoRemind. Today we're going to talk a little bit about two-way texting and intake forms, particularly seen in the light of how to improve the patient's in-office experience, but also a little bit out of the office experience. Particularly in these COVID times. So there's actually not going to be that many slides. There's going to be a little bit of slides here in the beginning, but then I'm going to move on and give you guys a demo, which is actually going to be most of this presentation. I guess the presentation will probably be in the neighborhood about 15 to 20 minutes, so it should be pretty straightforward. So just really quickly on the two features we are going to talk about. AutoRemind is probably pretty much known for our reminder services. We do actually have a lot of other features that can do all kinds of things in terms of efficiency and marketing and whatnot. And the two we're going to talk about today is two-way texting and intake forms. Now, two-way texting, most people who come to us and are interested in two-way texting, they are interested in saving time instead of calling people. So that's actually really the core value. There are, you guys are probably way too familiar with it. There's way too many examples of people ending up doing phone tag and spending a lot of time just getting people on the phone, and also for customers and patients to get hold of the office. They many times end up in a line or have to leave messages and whatnot. So two-way texting has just shown as a pretty good technology to use to just get some people off the phone. So you don't spend as much time on the phone, and patient service is just basically improved by giving them an option to go into dialogue with you guys, when they have time and when you have time. Now, of course, during COVID, it also showed another benefit, and which is the fact that just to kind of control what's going on in particularly your reception area, many have asked patients to stay outside and wait in the car, and then they use two-way texting as a communication device for letting them know now they can come in, basically. So that's kind of the values that we typically see for two-way texting. And now intake forms are basically a way to take your current forms, to remove the clipboard, or for that matter even the iPad, and to make sure that the intake forms are done before they even come to the office. That's at least what we are trying to do. Of course, they can still do it in the office if need be. So it's basically a way to save time, during check-in. Many people have told us that one of the main reasons why things get delayed in a doctor's office is simply because of people taking too long to do their forms, or they come too late to do their forms. So even the patients, of course, also can see a service benefit for this, so they don't have to spend too much time. And what you also see is that just the technology in itself, just makes it easier to fill a form, which in itself is an improvement, I would say. So you can reduce some wait time in the waiting room, and it can improve your service and just organize things a little bit more. And again, for COVID safety, it can you can do some forms which are COVID related, of course, but also you don't have to have a lot of people sitting in your waiting room to fill out forms. Now they can just do it outside, or do it even before they come in. So, but as I said, is that most of this presentation is actually more like a demo. So I'm gonna just go ahead to give you guys a little demo of how all these things work. So I'm just gonna remove this just for now. But bring that back a little bit later here. I'm gonna put that on my other screen and show you this. AutoRemind actually do websites, although these features are not required for websites. It's just easier for me to show it on this website because this customer already have the use of online forms. So it's for new patients in this case. So if you go to their website and you click new patients, you will see an example of an online form from AutoRemind. So this is pretty much what they look like. If I kind of resize it a little bit, you'll see it kind of changes, its size. So it's kind of prepared for mobile phone, which we're going to look at in a few minutes also. So now what it does, of course, is that it replaces, this classical form. This is another company which we actually do not work with. It's just a random company that we found that had forms online, and I just want to kind of show you that, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, is that so these are these classical PDF forms. There's actually nothing to do with this company. It's more the fact that you're using PDF forms. In a rare occasion, you can actually fill them out online, but it's actually rare. For the most part, you go online, you have to print them. So this is one of the problems really with this technology, is that once you need to have a printer, which I'm sure many people have, but we all know that maybe we don't have color or ink in our printer, or even if we do have it, we need to remember it. We get maybe a message saying that, hey, you need to fill out your form, but you just simply forget about it, or you have to remember it till you come home, and then maybe your printer doesn't work, maybe you don't have ink, you finally maybe get it printed, and then you realize you have to scan it again, and maybe you don't have a scanner as part of your printer. So there's all kinds of obstacles that makes this more limited in the way people fill it out. So for that reason, it's more often than not, you end up filling this thing out when you come into your healthcare office, and therefore we run into some of these challenges that we talked about before. While in this case, it's something you can fill out on your phone, which we're going to see, or right here on your computer, if that's what you prefer to do. Now, the way it's being distributed is a little bit interesting, because at least with us from AutoRemind, we distribute it through our reminders as an example, and we're also going to see how you can do it with two-way texting later. So many times we put them into the reminders. We actually even put the PDFs into the reminders or link to them in the reminders. But in this particular case, we also use our own kind of forms here. So I think this one is, hang on a second. Unfortunately, that pops up on my other screen. So I'm just going to move that over. There it is. So this one is basically a COVID screening form. So I'm just going to just fill it out real quick, because it's not that complicated, just so you guys can see what it looks like. So I'm going to fill out my name, fill out the date, and in this case, like I said, it's a COVID form. So in this case, coincidentally, I can safely answer no to all the different questions there are. It's just a standard form that we have. We can of course just adjust it to whatever it looks like for you guys. So once you fill it out, you do it like this on your computer. You basically just click on send, and what technically then is going to happen is that we are going to send an email to you, to your office, on an email that you guys have told us, and there you'll get a PDF. So this is important to understand. I would like to say that it goes straight into your software, but it does not. It ends up as a PDF. So instead of waiting on the email, in this particular case, I actually have a PDF here. So it's going to come up. It's going to be password protected with a password that you guys defined. Just hold on a second. Unfortunately, this thing pops up on my other screen again. So let me just get this over, since we're going to do it a couple of times. Let me just kind of prepare it here. I apologize. There we go. There it is. So this is what it looks like. It will come back as a PDF. In many cases, if you guys have a form already in, for example, PDF or Word for that matter format, that's what you guys will get back. That's not necessarily what, as you just saw, what the patient sees online. They see an electronic version of your form, but what we just make kind of a form so they can fill in the information, and then we will take that information and then put into your already existing PDF. So that's kind of how it works. So again, just to repeat, because a lot of people ask for that, nothing of this goes straight into your software by any means. You'll receive it as a PDF, and which you then in turn can upload or connect to your EMR, or save it as you guys normally would do. So all this, of course, is the process, of course, was distributed through the reminder system. The patient clicked in one of the reminders because it asked them to fill a form, in this case a pre-screening form. But I'll just be honest with you, there's many cases where people do not do that. You'll probably see an increase of people filling it out beforehand, but there's still some people who do not do it. So that's where maybe two-way texting comes in, and you can start to use that. So let's take a look at how the two-way texting functionality works, because there you can also communicate these things, these forms, but you can also talk to patients with in many other fashions. So I'm just going to bring out another screen I have here. So let me just use this. Hang on. So for those of you guys that's already customer of ours, you will probably recognize this portal. Which you already are using, I'm sure. So if you are adding two-way texting to your subscription, you'll see it'll appear up here in your menu. So you simply just click on it, and you will have access to your patients on the left. You can just find patients here, just like you normally would do. And I'll just find myself. So just find the information there. You go to the cell phone number up here and you say, okay, I want to send a two-way text. And then you end up in the two-way texting. So you can go either way. You can also just type the name of the patient, the phone number right here, and then it'll pop up and then you can start communicating. So it's very kind of simple. You'll most likely not have one, but a whole range of patients here on the left that you are either in communication with or have communicated with. You just click on the one you want to talk to. In this case, there's only one. And on the right, you'll see the communication. And all this communication is, of course, a little bit gibberish to some degree, because it's just me testing out and sending messages. So I'm just going to bring up, I have my phone here next to me and I connected it to my screen. So this is basically my phone. So we're going to take the risk. Sometimes there are congestions in the network, so it takes a little bit longer, but I'm going to take the risk and just send the messages so you guys can see. You basically type a message. You can also select a predefined message, which is something you can register if there's something you use a lot or type in a lot. Instead of typing in every time, you can just kind of pre-select it. But in this case, I'm just going to write test messages to show how it kind of works. You'll see there's already a whole range of messages that I sent earlier. And actually, one of them I like to kind of do is I'm going to send, and there you see the message popped up. I'm going to send this particular message, which is actually using a little bit of a different form. So why would you do that? Well, if you come to Thursday afternoon and you have Friday's appointment and you see there are a few patients that didn't fill out their form, then you have a chance now to go in and send them a text excerpt just to make sure they get the message and have to fill out the form. Or you can wait until they come into your office and you can see, you didn't fill out the form. Would you mind just stepping outside? I'll text you a link to the forms you can fill out on your phone if you don't mind. So that's basically what we're going to do. I'm going to pick up my phone here and just click on this link that I just sent to myself, and you'll see here's a form which is a little bit more a bigger type of form. It's a new patient form in this case. I'm not going to fill the whole form because that's probably going to take a little bit too long, but I'm just going to do a little bit because I want to show a couple of things which is kind of nice that you can do these days. So I'm just going to come up with a random set of information here just for fun. So we're going to fill out a little bit. So one of the first things I want to show, which is a very simple thing, but something we all are way too familiar with, is that once we fill out these things, is that we have to type the same message multiple times. So I just filled out a little bit of patient information. I come down to insurance. So instead of me typing my name and social and address and everything again, just by one click, just use patient information, then it fills it out for you. So you don't have to fill out all this information, which is can sometimes be pretty annoying. So already there's some improvement compared to the past. Also, scanning of IDs, insurance cards, in some cases even credit cards, you can do beforehand. So I'm going to try to do that. I have a picture here, or excuse me, I have a little ID card in front of me. So I'm going to go here and turn on my camera. So you see here's the card. As you can probably see, that's not me, but doesn't really matter. It's just an example of a driver's license. So you take a picture and you basically say, yeah, sure, use that photo. And now that photo is now attached to the form that we just filled out, that we're filling out. So you can probably imagine that you do that with your ID. You can do that with the insurance card front and back. You know what I'm saying? You see there's all kinds of options where you can attach these pictures. And then finally, we're going to see in a minute how that pops up in your PDF. You can also have the chance to sign. So instead, many of you guys probably have multiple forms, and you may have to sign a few times. But here, you just have to sign once, and then we will distribute that to the different forms that you have, and make sure the signature goes on all of them. So again, it's much easier and faster for the patient to do. So all that happened on my phone. I can also do it on my computer if I want to, but just for argument's sake, I just showed it on the phone. I didn't scan all the pictures because, again, it'll take a little bit too long. But I will show you right now. I'm just going to put my phone down and put this thing away so we can see it. Hang on. I'm going to go back because I have a sample of this exact form. It's not the form you just saw me fill out, but it's the same idea. So again, here there is a password you have to fill out. So this is a somewhat bigger PDF and form that's been filled out. So you'll see once I scroll down, there's a lot more information. But if this was your PDF, your current PDF that you use for your online forms, we basically just put in the information that the patient kind of upload on that phone you just saw before, or wherever they do it. I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom because that's where the attachments are. In this case, the pictures. So there was the signature, of course, not the same as I did, but you can imagine it should be the same. So I come down here, and the attachment, you'll see the picture goes into the PDF. So it's a very quick and efficient way to collect information from your clients. Now, with that said, this is of course forefront, new technology. A lot of people will be confused and whatnot. I get that. But so it's something you guys basically have to set a strategy and say, this is something we want to do, and educate the patient. So it's going to take some time. If there was anything positive that could be said about COVID, which is hard, then it could be that this could be the time to basically tell them that, you got to do this differently. You have to follow the new policies we have and fill these things out beforehand. And basically just use COVID as a vehicle to kind of push these things out. So people are maybe more positive to kind of change their behavior. So that's something that you can of course consider. Now, getting access to some of these tools, meaning particularly the two-way texting we just looked at here before, can be done very easily because whether you use Lightick or Metasoft, and I'm going to see if I think I have a Metasoft, actually, excuse me, a Lightick running here next to me. Just hold on one second. See if I can find it. So I'm just going to pull this over again from my other screen here. Just a sec. So here we go. For those of you who are familiar with Lightick, you can probably recognize it. So here you go. So if you are in Lightick and or for Metasoft for that matter, and you want to get hold of your two-way texting really quickly, there is now in many of the newer versions an AutoRemind icon right there on the toolbar. It's actually also several other places, on the patients and on the appointments, but it's always there right in the toolbar. And if you click on it, you'll go straight to the AutoRemind portal, the one you just saw. You can also, so it's like super easy, to get access to if you don't like that, or you may just want to have it at home. You can do that too. You can just put an icon on your desktop on the left there if you want to. But I just want to show that this was actually super easy to get hold of, and you can see it's kind of all over the place. I think if I open up an appointment here, hang on. There you go. There's another icon. Sometimes they're small, so you got to look for them here in the lower left corner. So there's different places in the softwares now that you can get access to the portal really quickly just by one click. So I just want to make sure you guys saw that. All right, we're pretty much getting close to being done. Just I'm going to go back to my slides now. There's just a few more slides, and then we're pretty much done with this little webinar. Here you go. yeah, so that was just a picture of LightTech and the icons I talked about, and there are similar ones in Metasoft. So for these features, you can actually, for those of you guys who are interested, you can do a free trial of two-way texting. So you can try it out, see if that's something you wanna try. If you don't like it, it doesn't work for you, or patients don't like it, then it's all good. Just give it back to us. If you are an existing customer, which I know some of you guys are, it's only $29 additional per month for two-way texting after the trial, and it just follows the same rules for messages that you already are familiar with. The free trial for online forms does unfortunately not exist, because we need to do quite a bit of work to convert your forms to an electronic version. But we can definitely give you guys one of our demo forms so you guys can try out yourselves, just to get a feel for it. Just to see how it is. The cost for online forms, if you are an existing customer, is also $29 a month. It doesn't matter if you have 1, 2, 3, or 4 forms, and it doesn't matter if you have 10 filling the forms or 100 filling the forms. The cost is probably a little bit higher in the setup. If you have very complicated forms, sometimes it can be a little expensive to convert them, because we need to convert them to a digital form, as you just saw. And it also depends a little bit upon what kind of quality of form you have right now in terms of PDFs and Word documents and whatnot. But all that we can take a look at and give you guys a quote before you pay anything, if you guys are interested in trying that out. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys got a fairly good understanding of, at least that's what I wanted to convey, that it was fairly easy to use, and there's some pretty strong values that you guys can benefit from if you use some of these tools in your office. And what I can encourage you to do, if you're interested, is just to give us a call on this number, this 800 number you have right there, or just respond to one of the mails I sent you if you want to do that, or write directly to our sales team, and we can do a one-on-one webinar with you guys where we can talk about your specific needs. If you guys are interested to learn more, or just simply want to join a free trial. So I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. If you didn't see it all or came in a little bit late, don't worry. I recorded on video, so a little bit later today we're gonna distribute it to you guys, so you guys can see it again if you like, or share it with somebody in the office. So thank you very much. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.